Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing I've learned from studying success, it's this: true confidence doesn't fall from the sky, you earn it. Not by shouting affirmations, not by pretending to be strong, not by wishing for courage, but by proving to yourself, day after day, that you can count on you. See, confidence isn't an act, it's a history. It's the story you carry inside about the times you showed up, the times you followed through, the times you did the thing you promised yourself you would do. Most people want confidence first and discipline later, but Jim Rohn taught us the opposite. Discipline is the seed, confidence is the harvest. When you wake up on time, when you read the book you said you'd read, when you hit the gym even when the mood is missing, you're sending yourself a powerful message. I am a person who keeps my word. And once you believe that you walk differently, you speak differently, you make decisions with a level of certainty that no one can take away from you. But when you break promises to yourself, not to others, but to yourself, your confidence quietly drains away. You know it, you feel it, you can't hide it from your own soul. So what's the solution? Start earning it back. Not with huge leaps, but with small, consistent victories. Start with the workout that takes 10 minutes. Start with the book that requires 5. Start with the decision to improve today, not someday, because every small win whispers, see, you can rely on yourself again. Soon, those whispers become a voice. Then the voice becomes a roar, and suddenly your presence speaks before your mouth does. This is the principle of earned confidence. Do the work, build the proof, trust the proof, and the confidence will rise. Not arrogance, not ego, but a calm, unshakable belief built from your own consistent action. So today, make a promise to yourself. Tomorrow, keep it. The next day, keep it again. And watch how your confidence transforms, not because someone praised you, but because you finally learned to believe in you. Confidence isn't a gift, it's the reward for keeping the promises you make to yourself. Most people think confidence is something you're born with, something certain people naturally possess, while others spend a lifetime searching for it. But confidence doesn't arrive wrapped like a present, and it doesn't appear after one moment of inspiration. Real confidence grows from the small, quiet agreements you make within yourself and the even quieter victories of following through. It's not built in a single day, but in the hundreds of tiny choices you make when no one is watching and no applause is waiting. When you promise yourself you'll wake up early and you actually do, you may not hear drums or fireworks, but something powerful happens inside. A small signal is sent. You're a person worth trusting. When you say you'll read 10 pages a day and you honor that commitment, you reinforce a truth your mind desperately needs to hear. Your words matter. And when your words matter to you, they begin to matter to the world. Your brain keeps score. It records everything, every broken promise, every completed task, every excuse, every moment of discipline. Over time, these records shape how you see yourself. Not how others see you, but how you see you, which is infinitely more important. Because the world reacts to the energy you carry from that inner belief. Think about the last time you felt uncertain, hesitant, or doubtful. Chances are there was a trail of unkept promises behind that feeling. Maybe you said you would start eating healthier, but you didn't. Maybe you wanted to study daily, but you pushed it to tomorrow, again and again. Maybe you wanted to improve your habits, your skills, your routine, yet your actions never fully aligned with your intention. Each of those moments quietly chipped away at your confidence, not loudly, not dramatically, but gradually, like water dripping on stone. Eventually, you wake up one day not trusting yourself, not because you are weak, but because you trained your mind not to believe your own words. But the opposite is just as true. When you consistently follow through, no matter how small the action, you begin to build an internal foundation that no criticism, no failure, no setback can shake. You're not depending on luck or talent or someone else's approval. You're depending on proof, solid proof that you can rely on you, and nothing builds confidence faster than that. You don't get confidence for free, you earn it. And you earn it by treating your own word with the same respect you expect from others. If you would feel disappointed when someone else breaks a promise to you, then why accept it when you do it to yourself? Most people don't realize that the relationship you have with yourself is the most important relationship you'll ever manage. You can't hide from yourself. You can't lie to yourself for long. You can't charm or manipulate your way into self-respect. You must behave your way into it. You must prove to your own mind that what you say and what you do are aligned. That alignment creates inner power. It creates a sense of stability that doesn't depend on circumstances. It creates a confidence that doesn't evaporate when you make a mistake or face judgment. Because you aren't basing your identity on perfection. You're basing it on consistency. And here's the beautiful thing. Confidence doesn't require massive achievements. It doesn't require winning trophies or reaching extraordinary milestones. It grows from simple acts repeated over time. If you say you'll work for 30 minutes and you do, you earn confidence. If you say you'll stop scrolling and you actually put the phone down, you earn confidence. If you say you'll drink more water, meditate, study, clean your room, practice your craft, even if it's just a little, you earn confidence. Each action becomes a vote, a demonstration, a clear message that you live by your commitments. At first, these changes feel insignificant. You might not notice any difference, but your subconscious notices, your self-image notices, and slowly you begin to walk differently, speak differently, make decisions differently, because you're not trying to convince yourself you're confident. You're proving it. Confidence built this way is unshakable because it wasn't gifted, inherited, or borrowed. It was earned, and anything earned cannot be easily taken away. You become the kind of person who trusts your own ability to figure things out. You become the kind of person who doesn't panic under pressure because you've already practiced discipline in the small, ordinary parts of life. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait for motivation, doesn't wait for perfect timing, doesn't wait for approval. You act because you have trained yourself to act, and that training breeds belief. The truth is, confidence is simply the memory of past victories, not victories over the world, but victories over your own excuses, fears, and laziness. Every time you choose action over comfort, intention over distraction, consistency over chaos, you collect another victory. And those victories accumulate into a kind of inner credit. When you face something difficult, you can borrow strength from those past moments where you showed up for yourself. That is earned confidence. It's the quiet inner certainty that says, I have done it before, I can do it again, and it all begins with one small promise kept today. Discipline today makes you trustworthy in your own eyes tomorrow. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but it's one of the most powerful principles of personal growth. Trust is not something you magically possess. It's something you build layer by layer, choice by choice, decision by decision. And while we often worry about whether others trust us, the truth is that the deepest pain comes when we don't trust ourselves. When you can't rely on your own word, your confidence cracks, your momentum fades, and your future feels uncertain. But discipline, shown today in the small and ordinary moments, has the power to repair that inner trust and rebuild your sense of self from the inside out. Every time you choose discipline, you're sending a message to your future self. You're telling tomorrow's version of you, relax, I've got you covered. You're building a bridge forward, making sure that the person you will be is standing on solid ground. Think of discipline as a gift you give to your future life. Waking up on time today makes tomorrow smoother. Eating properly today makes your body stronger tomorrow. Studying today makes your mind sharper tomorrow. Saving money today makes your future more secure. Every disciplined action plants a seed, and sooner or later, your future self has to live with the fruit of whatever you planted. But discipline isn't about punishment, restriction, or forcing yourself to live a joyless life. True discipline is about choosing what serves you in the long run instead of what comforts you in the moment. It's the difference between what feels good now and what feels good later. And here's the secret: later always matters more. Anyone can choose short-term pleasure, that's easy, but those who choose long-term benefit, even in small doses, create a level of self-respect that no one can hand them. You learn to trust yourself because you've proven that you can prioritize your future over your impulses. Most people think discipline is just about willpower, but it's really about identity. When you act with discipline, you're not just doing something. You're becoming someone. You're becoming the person who finishes what they start, who follows through, who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't give up just because the mood changes. And once you build that identity, you don't have to constantly push yourself. The discipline becomes natural because it's simply who you are now. You trust yourself because you've earned your own trust. Think about how many times people say, I'm going to start Monday, or I'll start next week, or I'll do it when the timing is right. But tomorrow only becomes predictable when you train it with discipline today. Waiting for a perfect moment is the fastest way to stay stuck. Discipline is the habit of starting now, even if the start is small. Even 5 minutes of focused effort today can create a ripple effect tomorrow, because what matters most isn't the size of the action. It's the proof that you can act. Every act of discipline strengthens the inner voice that says, I can rely on myself. And every time you break discipline, that voice weakens a little. It doesn't disappear overnight, but it slowly erodes your belief in your ability to grow. That erosion is dangerous because it leads to hesitation, self-doubt, and excuses. But discipline, consistently applied, reverses that erosion and builds something far more powerful: integrity. Integrity means your thoughts, words, and actions align. When they align, you move through life with a calm, rooted confidence. You're not pretending to be strong. You are strong because you've built the habits that create strength. There will always be days when you don't feel like being disciplined. Everyone has those days. Even the most successful people are not motivated all the time. What separates them is that they don't wait for motivation. They rely on discipline. They act because they made a decision, not because they felt inspired. Discipline is the ability to carry out yesterday's commitment regardless of today's mood. When you do that, you build something priceless: predictability. You become predictable to yourself. You know you will show up even if it's uncomfortable. That predictability is the root of inner trust. Imagine living a life where you never doubt whether you will push yourself, whether you will follow through, whether you will keep your promises. That kind of self-confidence doesn't come from affirmations or positive thinking. It comes from disciplined action repeated over time. It comes from proving to yourself that you do what needs to be done. And once that trust is built, stress decreases, anxiety decreases, and your self-worth skyrockets. Because nothing brings peace like knowing you can count on you. Discipline also creates freedom. At first, it seems strange. How can doing the hard thing make life easier? But that's exactly how it works. When you manage your time with discipline, you get more freedom later. When you manage your health with discipline, you get more energy later. When you manage your money with discipline, you get more choices later. Discipline is the hidden doorway to a more liberated future. It gives you options, flexibility, confidence, and control. The truth is, discipline today is not just about today. It's about building a version of yourself that your future can depend on. And the moment you start living with discipline, even imperfect discipline, even small discipline, you begin creating a life that is stable, powerful, and deeply self-respecting. That's how you earn your own trust. That's how you become someone your future self thanks, not someone they resent. Through discipline, you become the author of your life instead of the victim of your moods. Every small win becomes a brick in the foundation of unshakable self-belief. People often underestimate how powerful small victories are because they look so ordinary, so simple, so unimpressive on the surface. But success is rarely a grand event. It's a quiet accumulation of tiny steps, each one strengthening the belief that you are capable, disciplined, and moving forward, even if the world doesn't applaud you for it. The greatest mistake people make is thinking that only massive achievements matter. But those massive achievements are never built on giant leaps. They're built on hundreds of small wins that no one ever sees. Think about the first time you tried something difficult. You probably didn't start by being great. You started by trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. And each time you improved even a little, that improvement gave you just enough confidence to try again. That's how progress works, incrementally, not instantly. A small win is simply a promise kept, a task completed, a moment of discipline honored. On the outside, it may look like nothing. 5 minutes of reading, a short workout, drinking more water, improving your posture, cleaning your desk, practicing one sentence of a new language. But inside, each one is a message to your subconscious mind. I do what I say I will do. That message is how self-belief is born. Small wins matter because your brain is always tracking your behavior. It notices every time you show effort, and it notices every time you avoid it. When you skip what you were supposed to do, your mind feels it. You might brush it off, laugh it off, or excuse it away, but your inner confidence quietly takes a hit. On the other hand, when you complete even one small task, even a tiny one, your mind registers it as progress. Progress produces momentum. Momentum builds belief. Belief transforms your identity. That identity then influences your actions, and your actions shape your future. All of that begins with something as simple as choosing to win a small moment instead of surrendering it. People often wait for motivation to make a move, but motivation comes from seeing yourself win. When you keep winning small, you develop a track record of competence. That track record builds an emotional memory, a memory that says, I can trust myself, I can improve, I can handle challenges. This emotional memory is what creates unshakable self-belief, the kind that stays strong even when life gets difficult, even when people doubt you, even when results come slowly. Self-belief built on small wins is not fragile because it didn't come from luck or external validation. It came from proof, real proof, that you are capable of showing up. Small wins also have a compounding effect. Just like saving a little money consistently eventually turns into a meaningful amount, stacking daily wins eventually turns into unstoppable confidence. One win makes the next win easier. You stop fearing challenges because you know you can take them on step by step. You stop doubting your abilities because you've been building them quietly through action. You stop depending on perfect timing, on ideal conditions, on inspiration. Why? Because you've trained your mind to trust effort, not excuses. You've trained your character to grow through consistency, not intensity. A person who focuses only on big wins ends up disappointed, discouraged, and doubtful because big wins are rare. But small wins are available every single day, and every day presents dozens of opportunities to strengthen the foundation of your confidence. Woke up on time, that's a win. Chose water instead of soda, that's a win. Studied for 10 minutes, another win. Completed a difficult task at work, win. Walked instead of scrolling endlessly, win. Spoke kindly to yourself instead of criticizing your flaws. A huge win. These wins don't just stack, they shape you, and here's the truth. Small wins are the only kind of wins that are fully under your control. You can't control outcomes, but you can control your effort. You can't control luck, but you can control your habits. You can't control criticism, but you can control how you show up. When you focus on what you can control, you empower yourself. When you empower yourself, you stop waiting for circumstances to change and start creating change yourself. The beauty of small wins is that they allow anyone, no matter where they are starting from, to build confidence. You don't need perfect conditions, expensive tools, or massive talent. You only need commitment to daily progress. Even someone who feels broken, behind, or full of self-doubt can begin rebuilding themselves through small victories. If you can win today in even one small way, you can win tomorrow. And if you can win tomorrow, you can win next week. That's how transformation begins, not with a loud announcement, but with quiet consistency. Over time, these small wins become a part of your identity. You stop saying, I hope I can, and start saying, I know I can. You stop questioning your abilities and start trusting your habits. You stop living by fear and start living by proof. And that proof becomes so strong that when obstacles appear, you don't crumble. You simply take a breath, adjust your plan, and keep building with the next small win. Brick by brick, moment by moment, you create a version of yourself that cannot be shaken because your confidence wasn't inherited. It was constructed. It wasn't borrowed. It was earned. It wasn't temporary. It was built through the daily commitment to progress, and that is the kind of self-belief that makes a person truly unstoppable. You've heard the principles. You've heard the truth. But now, you must hear the message your future self is begging you to understand. Because there comes a moment in every person's life where they stand face with their own potential, and they must decide whether to step forward or turn away, and maybe, just maybe, this is your moment. Listen closely. Are you ready to trust yourself again? That's the question life is asking you right now. Not tomorrow, not someday, not when things feel easier. Now, and maybe inside you, a small voice is whispering, I don't know if I can. But that voice isn't weakness, that voice is honesty. And honesty is the perfect place to start. Because confidence isn't built on pretending you're unstoppable. It's built on proving, step by step, that you can rise even when you doubt yourself. You don't need perfection. You don't need massive breakthroughs. You don't need a dramatic transformation overnight. You just need one thing, the courage to begin with a small win today. Imagine your future self standing in front of you right now. They're stronger, they're calmer, they're disciplined, they're confident. They're everything you hope you can be, and they're looking at you with a smile, saying, "Thank you for not giving up on me." But that version of you doesn't appear by accident. They appear because you chose action over excuses, you chose discipline over distraction, you chose your future over your comfort, and life will test you. It will ask you, do you really want this? It will challenge your consistency. It will tempt you with easier paths. It will whisper, skip today, try tomorrow. But that's when you must rise. That's when you must talk to yourself with power. No, I show up. No, I don't break my word. No, I don't negotiate with weakness. Today I win. Even if it's small, I win. Because every time you honor your commitment, you gain more than progress. You gain proof. You gain dignity. You gain self-respect, and that self-respect becomes the unshakable confidence you've been searching for. People talk about motivation like it's magic, but motivation is simply the echo of your past victories. You want motivation, then earn it, create it, build it through consistent wins, and yes, you will stumble. Yes, you will have days where you fall short. Yes, you will feel tired, overwhelmed, frustrated, and tempted to quit. But hear this dialogue clearly. Your fear says, what if I fail again? Your discipline replies, then I will rise again. Your doubt says, I'm not strong enough. Your consistency replies, I will build my strength through action. Your past says, you've broken promises before. Your future replies, this time we rise differently. This is not the version of you that quits. This is not the version of you that makes excuses. This is not the version of you that hides behind fear. This is the version that takes responsibility. This is the version that rewrites the story. This is the version that earns confidence brick by brick. And when you look back months from now, you won't remember how long it took. You won't remember the struggles or the delays. What you will remember is the moment you decided to change, the moment you decided to make yourself proud, the moment you stopped hoping and started acting. Say this to yourself with power, I am building something inside me that no one can break. Because when you can trust yourself, you become unstoppable. When your discipline is true, your future becomes predictable. When your wins are consistent, your confidence becomes legendary. And nothing, no person, no failure, no setback can take away what you build with your own hands. You're not just creating habits, you're creating character. You're not just finishing tasks, you're forming identity. You're not just earning confidence, you're earning freedom. So stand tall, lift your chin. Take a breath and begin the next chapter with conviction. Tell yourself, this is my time, this is my season, this is my rise. I am done negotiating with my excuses. I am done living below my potential. I am done waiting for the perfect moment. I create the moment. I build the momentum. I earn the confidence. One small win today. One brick placed with intention. One disciplined action that proves you can rely on yourself. Do it today, and your future self will look back and say, "That was the day everything started to change." And you deserve that kind of victory. You deserve that kind of life. You deserve the confidence you're about to build. Now go earn it.